Okay, for your notebooks for this note, it's on page 3 of our notes. Period 1 might be a little different, but the rest of my periods are all on page 3. This is the title of your notes today. It will be a flow map. But when you go ahead and write this down on page 3, the back of page 2, you guys see this paper here. This is the back of page 2 where you had notes. I want you to write this down. I want you to go ahead and write down what slope-intercept form is. So you're going to write this down. Y equals mx plus b. And it looks weird. It looks bizarre. All it is it's two different sets of information trying to throw at you. This is actually, write this down. This is a linear equation. So write that down. And in class, we're going to go talk about what a linear equation is. The M, I'm going to use different colors. This is called the slope, which we have heard a ton. We know slope. Slope is rise and run or fall and run. Rise and run or fall and run. And then this one over here, let me use a different color. It's called the y-intercept. All right. This is called the slope. This is called the y-intercept. And we're going to talk about both of those today, what these things are. You know slope. You've talked about rise and run or fall and run. It's the y-intercept that seems kind of confusing, okay? We're going to talk about both things right now, and let's just kind of get into it. And what you might see, I'm going to write this out. Y equals 3 over 2x plus 2. You may see an equation like this, all right? You may see something like this. What's the y-intercept? 2. What's the slope? 3 over 2. Okay, the y and x are just part of this equation. We're going to be dealing with this kind of equation, this linear equation. And if you see in linear, I'm going to underline this. I'd have a poster like this in my room. Linear means line. This is a line equation. Okay, so that's the beginning of our notes. Let's go ahead and now get down here. Push pause if you want to finish taking this part. This is just on the back side. Now, we're going to go ahead and talk about what we have here. So if you could, for me, draw 2 boxes here. And then we have one more here. This is a flow map, but it's only 2 steps. To do this problem, it's only a 2-step problem. The hardest part of understanding these problems is to understand the language. If you get the language down of what's going on, then you'll be just fine. When I say the language, I mean the vocabulary, all right? We learned a couple things right here, slope and y-intercept, all right? Those are the 2 pieces of vocab that are super important for today's notes. All right, let me have this here and here. Very cool. Now, talking about these first 2 steps, I want you to put first and second. And I'm going to have a simple problem for you. I'm going to say graph okay? It'll be the same graph or same problem on both sides here. And I'm going to give you an equation to graph. All right. And if we were in class, I would say, all right, look at your notes again. Look up here. You can see, if you're looking at this equation, what's the slope? You see the slope? It's 1/2. Slope is rise over run, right? So it's 1/2. What's the y-intercept? Y-intercept would be -3. So we're going to talk about this. And there's only 2 steps to this problem. Let's get into it. First step, plot point. All right, plot point on y-axis. All right, let me go ahead and go over where's the y. This is the y. This is the x. This is your y-axis. This is your x-axis. So you know you're going to put a point on the y-axis where the -3 is, comma, since -3 is your y-intercept. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and also write it out again down here. What was the equation? It was y equals 1/2 x minus 3, or -3. See where that -3 is coming into play now? So when I do this, it says plot point on y-axis where the -3 is, since -3 is your y-intercept. This right here is your y-intercept. So basically, to start this problem, you look at the end of the equation, and that's where you start. Now, where's -3 on the y? Well, this is our y, right? So -3 is going to go right there. Okay? And go ahead and do that on this side too. All right? And that's your first step. You just finished your first step. All you have to do is plot where the y-intercept is. Where's the y-intercept? The last number of your equation. Okay? Second step. From the, I'm going to abbreviate this, y-intercept point. From the y-intercept point, let's get over. You must follow the slope, which is 1/2. What does that mean? Rise 1, run 2, and plot point. All right, go ahead and write that down. Where's my slope on this one? There's my slope. Right? We know this. We've covered this so much in the last 4 days. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. There's your next point. All right, and then if you had something to make a straight line with, you're done. That is your graphed line. You just graphed in slope-intercept form. Okay, so let's go over this again. What did we do first? We first plotted our y-intercept. We put a point there at -3. And then from -3, we went up 1, we went rise 1, and run 2. Okay. All right. Hopefully these notes were helpful. And I will do like maybe 1 or 2 practice problems with you guys real quick. Let me go ahead and look at this problem here. Look at this sheet. We did this in class. I'm gonna do 4 and 5. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do 4 first. Actually, let's do 5. I mean 6, excuse me. 6. Let's do this one. So your first step is to handle the y-intercept. -2 on the y. It even shows a y there, so don't ever be confused where the y-axis is. -2. Then what's your slope? 3/4? Is that positive? You don't see a negative sign. So you're going to rise 3, 1, 2, 3, and run 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Let's do another one on the back side. Oh, this is my original clue. All right. What about this one? Let's do a -1. Oh, they're not all. They are all positives. It's okay. We'll do a positive one. Where do I start on this one? -5. on the y-axis, right? My y-intercept. Then I'm going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And run 3. 1, 2, 3. Why did I do that? Because that's my slope. Hopefully this was helpful. You guys take a look at it. You can always rewatch this if you need to.